I'm Nadya Okamoto. I live with borderline personality disorder, or BPD, and I'm going to talk to you about how it impacts all areas of my life. Career, sleep, self-care, exercise, eating habits, relationships. BPD is a mental health disorder that impacts the way I think and feel about myself and others, manifesting in challenges with emotion regulations, in intense relationships, and even how I feel in my body. BPD really manifests in feeling no self-worth. And I think one way that I'm able to contextualize my worth is through work. I am the co-founder and CEO of a period brand called August. We make more sustainable tampons and pads that actually work. For years, I would close my laptop and have panic attacks and feel the urge to cut myself. I felt like I was worth nothing outside of work. So I went to rehab for 6 weeks in 2020, and a lot of my work addiction kind of caught up to me in 2020, where I had basically gone a few years with barely sleeping, with not having a lot of joy in my life, with not addressing the dissociation and the self-harm tendencies, and it caught up to me and I just crashed. And I think that it took me 6 weeks in rehab to kind of come out of that burnout hole and also just learn more about myself, get a BPD diagnosis. Rehab for me, it was something that I was really ashamed of having to go, but it honestly saved my life in so many ways. I think a lot of my BPD tendencies, but also mistakes that I had made in the past, caught up with me. And some of them were rooted in leading from a place of scarcity or leading from a place of insecurity. And, it still pains me to say, but I think it's really important for me to acknowledge that if I leave my BPD unchecked, I'm not a great leader, because it makes me really insecure. It makes me, make rash decisions. And I think that addiction to work got so extreme that I forgot to do other things. I lost a lot of relationships, a lot of friendships, because I was so addicted to work. I've always loved my job, but I think that I've really learned that if I lose myself in my job, I become so dissociated that I'm not even giving myself the space to enjoy it. I haven't worked through all of my challenges around prioritizing my health and myself over work. And what that means is sometimes I will go a whole day skipping a lot of meals because I just want to keep working, or I'll literally forget to go to the bathroom and get sometimes a UTI, or I won't poop for 2 weeks because I'm literally wanting to work and I kind of ignore the urge to go. A lot of my BPD manifests in restricting myself from rest and sleep. I think that working on sleep has been my biggest accomplishment in my mental health journey, because I've struggled with sleeping since I was a child. I think that a lot of the traits of not allowing myself to rest or not allowing myself to sleep and be nourished do stem from this lack of self-worth feeling and what I'm worthy of. I do think that it's made worse in many ways by my BPD and the struggle with feeling like I deserve that and feeling like I've done enough to be able to rest. I used to work in bed a lot because I would work until I was so exhausted I would pass out. And now this space is reserved for sleeping and for naps. One of the ways that I've been able to help the busy mind when I go to sleep is to listen to audiobooks or podcasts or guided meditations. For me, I don't have an extensive morning or night routine because I try to maximize the number of hours I can sleep, and I'm not a morning person. There are certain things that have really helped, like weighted blankets. Some people are a little bit sensitive to how much weight they put on themselves. I love as much weight as possible. Showering is not really my thing. So I take really quick showers. Even if I don't have a whole makeup routine or I don't shower every day, I have to brush my teeth every day. I floss, I do my little water pick thing, and I'm really into my skincare. And my skincare, again, isn't this kind of extensive process. I use one moisturizer, one basic fragrance-free night cream. Those small actions that I know are gonna happen every day are really important, and they're my own version of self-care and my own version of personal hygiene. So I'm gonna do some cupping on my neck. I woke up and I had a lot of pain here. It's hard for me to sometimes feel present in my body. And when I do things like this, I think honestly the sensation brings me back to my body. And it's kind of scary to admit because it is a pain sort of feeling. But I think also the relief then makes me it makes me feel relieved, and it makes me feel more full. And then I'll make TikToks for 5 minutes. Part of BPD is feeling like I don't control my body, and so working out has always been a daily habit. This is my happy place. I come here more days than I don't come here. I got into solid core last year, and it's been really good specifically around dealing with like any self-harm urges. And honestly, if I skip a day or two of any sort of movement, it's hard for me to go to sleep, but I also just like get more jittery, or like if I'm dissociating already in an episode, I will have like more urges to do destructive things that kind of bring feeling back into my body. I think a lot of my past urges for like self-harm have come from feeling out of my body, and so even if it's a little bit of stretching, I feel like having some sort of movement or specifically doing things like solid core has been really, really important for me to work through that.
Push through it, fight for it. What do you want? Send it up, send it right back down. Let's go. Yes, smiling helps. There you go.
So one of the traits of BPD is an intense feeling of emptiness. That feeling of emptiness can either leave me feeling numb, and it kind of leads me to different self-harm urges, or it makes me feel like I need to fill my body. This is not bad at all, actually. But I have some videos on TikTok where like if I'm feeling shaky, and a lot of it is that I haven't eaten, like my hands are like this. I have a lot of pain up my arms because of the shakiness. But it's my body kind of freaking out because it's not being nourished. I live with my boyfriend, and Henry, my boyfriend, has been such an incredible accountability partner. He's been really supportive of just helping me find what works. So whether that's reminding me to have lunch, like he'll text me, or he's definitely better about making sure we have groceries in the fridge, because I have, again, this scarcity mindset where I feel like I don't deserve to have food on hand. But when it comes to nourishing my body with food and rest and love and time for myself, that's where I have a scarcity mindset that is really hard for me to work through. So if I go grocery shopping, I won't buy a lot because I'm really terrified of wasting anything, or I'll spend a lot of time in the grocery store figuring out if I should get the organic one or not, because am I worth getting the better one? So for me, grocery shopping is hard because it's that extreme scarcity, or it's I need to buy everything and I come home with literally dozens of cartons of ice cream and cereal and snacks that I don't need. Delivery apps in New York City have been really helpful because it kind of makes it more removed from myself, where I can just plan out exactly what I need. My cooking routine is really not creative or daring. It's like very plain chickens and just making sure I have the right ingredients. I'm kind of just thinking about function, getting the nutrients that I need. I just kind of do it quickly, and then I stick it in the air fryer, and I just take it out. Then I'll use this oil, and that'll be my oil for my eggs. I'm still trying to figure out the whole meal prep thing. So I usually meal prep and cook as much as I possibly can on Sundays. I'll have all this prepared food in my fridge, but it doesn't restrict the urge of binging. So even if I have prepared food, it's hard for me to be like, okay, I'm not gonna eat all the chicken I prepared. That's supposed to save me through the week. Often I forget to meal prep at all because I don't prioritize it as much as I should. My binging gets worse when I'm depressed. So if I'm triggered, or if I'm just not feeling great, or I'm feeling dissociated, I'll just kind of check out while I'm eating, and then I'll kind of snap back into reality because I start feeling pains in my stomach. So it's not a great situation, but I'm working on it. And a lot of how I'm working on it is just making sure and working with therapists to make sure that I'm eating a balanced diet with a lot of protein, so it actually makes me feel like I have something substantial in my stomach. Because I focus so much on my work relationships and my work in general, I'm not the best at prioritizing creating time for myself or my personal relationships. The fact that Henry, my boyfriend, knows that I have BPD is such a game changer to have a supportive partner, because I think that in the past when I've been in relationships and I had trouble with my emotion regulation, oftentimes I was also not with the most supportive people. One of the things that I'm currently working on in therapy is like prioritizing quality time with friends, with my boyfriend. I've definitely gotten into little spats with Henry because Like I won't create or prioritize a lot of time to like go on dates or hang out. Sometimes I'll send him calendar invites because like that's how I think of my life. Like, especially when I'm going through dissociative episodes, I'm like not consciously going about my day. Like I had a dissociative day like really badly yesterday. No idea what I did yesterday. Like I'll have to look at my Google Calendar to tell you what I did yesterday. And there are like sometimes periods of my life, like years that go by where I am like dissociated, like kind of just not like sleepwalking through life. And so because of that, when it comes to like trying to make time in my personal life, like everything is on the Google Calendar, from blocking off time to sleep, blocking off time to travel or breathe or to walk from one place to another. I think that the most special thing about my relationship with Henry right now is that this is the first time I've been in a relationship where him loving me unconditionally inspires me to love myself. That's the greatest gift he could ever give me, because again, that type of relationship ends with me feeling better about myself and also feeling more independent, less codependent, and more excited to just like live consciously in what we are creating. I think understanding BPD has been a huge beneficial thing in my relationship with my family. The most important people in my life are my sisters, and my sisters are everything to me. I don't have a lot of friends. Like I probably can count the number of close people who I consider real friends like on my hand. And yet I remember getting diagnosed with BPD and honestly like not being in a good space with any of my family members. My mom was not talking to me. My middle sister and I had not talked in about 10 years. When she learned of my diagnosis and I got on the right treatment plan, I started medication for the first time. I think that also allowed her to forgive me for a lot of past behavior and things that she was angry at me for. I agreed to make this video because there's so much to be said around borderline personality disorder, and if there's one takeaway I could give all of you is that we're all a work in progress. Mental health is a never-ending journey, and the most important thing is that you just keep going. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope this helps anyone out there who might have BPD or thinks they have BPD, and just know you're not alone.